we going down? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Turn me over. I sense hesitancy. They must know what the weather is. Did you hear what's going on outdoors? Yeah. I'll understand if you guys don't really want to go outside. I don't think you know the full extent. 62 degrees, that is a record high temperature for December 18th. 29.16 on the barometer. That thing runs low. And 91% relative humidity. Everyone asks me, is that's the temperature outside? And it says thunderstorms possible. There are some thunderstorms south of New England. Stop. Go slow. Go slow. See how far he goes. Very warm. Very comfortable. Flagpole is rocking. Steve, you joining us? It's not one single storm. We have several areas of low pressure coming at New England from the south this morning. Here's the Ocean Prediction Center chart from before the sun came up. You see 3 lows there developing. Hurricane force, it says, but there are 3 centers. So which one's in charge? Well, none of them are really in charge, but there are waves of energy coming along this boundary. It's going to keep the wind and rain coming most of the day. There he is. There he goes. He'll go hide underneath the bush. But between 8 and 9 o'clock this morning, the sun came out on the PTZ cam at New York Harbor this morning. Almost looking like the eye of the storm. But it's not a hurricane, so it does not have an eye. Just looks and feels that way. So several low pressure systems going to come across New England today. Each one's going to go a little further east than the previous one. T-Rex, you want to go inside? All right. So that means in parts of New England, you may actually see the sun come out for today. For a few minutes anyway. In Connecticut this morning and then central New England this afternoon. I know I'm late again today. The wind is swirling. All right, let's see what happens here. The flag was just pointed like it was coming from the north, but that's just the air coming down over this hill and then kind of eddying. You know how the air eddies, and you can see the air pushing down on the water right there. That's all how air comes down over the hill and pushes down. Very low tide right now, very high tide this afternoon. Just about noontime along the south coast, and that could bring some moderate coastal flooding. We already have flash flood warnings in effect for many spots. Look at that wind coming down right there. That is so interesting, isn't it? And it's coming up at my face. It's literally rolling right down over and up and down and out. So if this was a nor'easter, I wouldn't even be able to stand here and talk to you. But because it's a sou'easter or a southerly, I can stand here and you can hear me. There are more than 250,000 customers without electricity in New England right now. And if you throw in New York and down the coast, more than 500,000 customers without electricity. Not that this is the strongest low pressure system, it's just that the high pressure system out over the ocean is massive and it's getting stronger, believe it or not. And that high is going to be large and in charge and ruling the weather over the Atlantic Ocean for some time. All right, so our water went over the 1 inch mark by about a 0.05. So I would say that means we've had 1.5 inches. If I had 3 hands, I could show you how this all works. I can't, I don't think I can do it. Anyhow, you dump out the inch, and then I can try and set it over here, I guess, and see if I can do this for you. Consider this the and more part of the weather before. Oh, shoot. That is not very scientific, Tim. You saw how much spilled out there. I think I'm right, though. Right. So that's 1.3, and I spilled out about a 0.17. So I'm going 1.5 so far. I know I'm supposed to empty it at 8, and it's closer to 9. So we'll count for that. Not done. Waves of rain coming through here. Record warmest December 18th. That one only says 59. December 18th also. Happy birthday in heaven, Dad. You enjoying that? My dad taught me how to read the barometer. My mom taught me how to smile. And I taught myself how to smile and lie with confidence. Lie? What do you mean? I mean on TV when they give you the forecast. They don't really know what's going to happen. So they smile and lie and tell you they know what's going on. That's what we do. Call it BS and BS. Anyhow, the storm is practically over, right? It gets a little worse before it gets better here. Look at that bird playing in the water. I say playing, looks like, what was he doing? Just having fun. Where's the mate? Down below getting you some food? So Blue Hill Observatory is not that far away from here. Just over that burning bush way over there. And the gust on Blue Hill this morning was 72 miles per hour. That's a record. Beat December 18th, 1978, wind gusted up close to hurricane force also that day. That was the winter after the blizzard of 78. So February 79 was not that memorable. And the wind on Mount Washington gusted to 132 miles per hour this morning. And that vertical azimuth, excuse me, I always say vertical, velocity azimuth display that does give a vertical profile of the atmosphere over Boston. The strongest wind of the entire profile up to 35,000 feet was only 4,000 feet with a 95 knot jet over our head this morning. Once again, it's the high pressure system. I'm going to show you the really big picture here of that high on the right. And look at it get stronger through the 1040s to 1050. And there is going to be another major storm forming between us and that high pressure system. I've been talking a lot about a possible Wednesday event. Well, it looks like it's going to be way out over the ocean. There it is, deepening, going into Newfoundland and Labrador on Friday as a major storm. Looks like a blizzard up there. Meanwhile, we're fairly quiet. And next storm looks like it could be here after Christmas. And it looks like it wants to be a warm one. Maybe next Tuesday or Wednesday. Ouch! So rivers, no doubt, are coming out of their banks in northern New England. We have ocean flooding, and this storm, pretty much the weather highlight of our week. I guess what's going to be really interesting here in my neighborhood, I live on the hill, is that water coming down the hill is going to be freezing. And so even though the next 2 or 3 mornings, not so much tomorrow morning, but say Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning, hillside roads where water comes across them are going to be icy. We're going to be building a glacier up there on Bailey across the street from my house. So I'll be watching that. I showed you the ice on that yesterday morning, left over from earlier in the week. So if you take this week's rainfall, today widespread 3 inches, some parts of Connecticut towards New York getting more like 6 or 7, and you add last week's 5, that's close to a foot of rain so far this month in parts of New England. Unfortunately, it comes on top of what was a great snowpack in Vermont. It's going to be rebuilt. It's going to be very icy skiing, I would say, the rest of the week. So watch for where the snow guns go on again, and they groom that out. But it looks like quiet weather. It headed into our Christmas weekend with the possibility of another clipper or something like that. It's week 9 of coast-to-coast snow. Here's the snowfall forecast. That's snowing out west somewhat. Oklahoma, New Mexico getting some snow. New England, nothing. I think there is some upslope snow in Vermont, but it was overdone in my forecast for Jay, which I'm going to have to rewrite tomorrow. We'll see how much damage, how much the snow stake had about 3 feet at it on Mount Mansfield before this storm came in. We'll see how much is left later today and tomorrow. It's going to be waterlogged, so you'll be able to ice skate on top of the snow on these mountains, practically. Okay. Not full of good news, am I? Kind of calling the play-by-play on this storm. I think it just cut off on me. Anyhow, I was saying I don't really have any more
I didn't really do much yesterday, so watching TV last night, I changed from the football because I saw Willie Nelson was having his 90th birthday celebration, hosted by all kinds of stars. Woody Harrelson. It was so funny introducing him. And, you know, who else came out there? George Strait. Sheryl Crow was ever present. Keith Richards came out there. And then they all came out and sang happy birthday to Willie Nelson, which I'm sure I cannot lift. But I just show that in the background. I would get a copyright infringement. I don't know how people get away with posting music on Instagram all the time. All right, Steve, you want to stay out here? I'm going back inside. And we'll cover this storm play-by-play today and have that and more tomorrow. Be interesting to see if the sun comes out. It looks like the worst of the wind in Boston is done early afternoon. There'll be a bit of a lull, and then it'll pick back up from the west as we clear it out around 6 o'clock tonight. You're going out this evening. It will be dry, and it looks like dry headed right through Christmas for the most part, unless something changes. Hoping for a Wednesday surprise, but getting too close to say that's going to happen. Late breaking here, close to 10 a.m. I'm just editing Out the Door Weather and More, and I just got some and more from the Hennessy's in the Mad River Valley. That's Folsom Brook that feeds into the Mad River this morning, coming out of its banks. And also Josh Worth in Montgomery, Vermont. Riverwalk Park, that's the Trout River, also coming out of its banks this morning. Look at that flag trying to point at me from the north as the air continues to swirl in here in a lull in the rain. Another 12 hours to go and before that snow melt halts in northern New England, but we're going to have many reports of washed out roads and river flooding, an unusual event for sure for December. Sad, really sad for so many reasons. Okay, a little more and more. It's close to 11 o'clock. We just had a pretty good downpour. Now the sky is brightening, and we almost had just a little bit of sunshine for a moment. And I'm just seeing water being lifted up out of the Fall River. It's Howes Neck and Quincy. I've seen some white Mistrals coming out of the water. Of course, I got the camera on now, so I'm not really seeing it. Darn. But you can see on Raccoon Island that water coming right across the rocks there, so the whole gut right now is probably just howling. That's what I'm talking about. See the water lifting up into the air? The gust going right over there into Howes Neck. Meanwhile, you can hear the birds singing at my house. There's always more and more and more. Come on, I want a better one than that. There you go. Anyhow, late word is it's getting even worse in northern Vermont. Oh, there's one. Look at that one. Oh yeah, and I had to update that Blue Hill wind, gusted to 78 miles per hour. So this is the worst of the wind right now, I think. And we've probably seen the worst of the rain down in southeastern New England, but hours and hours to go in the north. Sorry that so many people get impacted adversely in these storms. They're fascinating to watch. And more and more and more. Arr, arr. Say that's long enough for today. Whatever happens the rest of the day, we'll bring you some highlights tomorrow.